In this video, I'm going to be addressing and answering the top 10 questions that people are asking me when moving to the state of Utah. I am going to be going through each and every question one by one and hopefully answer that question as well as I possibly can in this format, but also point you towards the resources that you might want to look into if you want to learn more and if you have more questions. And I'm saving the best, or possibly the worst, for last, and that is the question regarding taxes here in the state of Utah. And I'm going to wrap up by exploring what's happening in Utah right now, as well as what lies in the future for the state of Utah. And with that said, let's go. So if we haven't met yet, my name is Scott Steele, and I absolutely love helping people discover all things Utah, including Utah real estate. So if you're considering making a move to Utah, or perhaps you already live here and you're considering a move, I would love to be your real estate resource of choice. You can find my contact information in the description below and reach out, or you can book a call with me using that link that's found in the pinned comment on this and every video. And with that said, let's get started. So these are the top questions that people are asking me on a regular basis, almost daily at this point, and these are the top questions I want to address right here in this video and then give you a really good response as well. And the first question that I get as I book a call with each and every person moving here is, what is the cost of living and how does that compare to the state or the area where I'm coming from? And of course, this answer differs depending on where you are moving from. And it's about 1 out of 5 people that are moving to the state of Utah are coming from the state of California, where the cost of living, the overall cost of living here in Utah is certainly less than most areas of California. But depending on the area that you're coming from, that number could vary greatly. If you came from, for example, a place in the Midwest, you're going to find that this is probably more expensive in terms of cost of living. Utah overall does rank right in the middle of the pack, number 25 in the nation for overall cost of living, but there's other things to consider when you're talking about cost of living as well, depending on your lifestyle. If transportation, if utilities impact you a lot, depending on your work or your personal schedules. Does the cost of real estate really impact you specifically more than somebody else based on your needs? So those are specific questions and specific answers that we can go through if you want to reach out and we can learn more about your personal situation. All right, next up is the job market. What is the job market and what are the opportunities here in the state of Utah? Utah does rank number 1 overall in the country for job growth as well as the economy. So it's a great place to not only find a job, but start a business as well. And if that's something that's important to you, or if that's something that's attracting you to the state of Utah, I think you're probably going to be pleasantly surprised that this is probably one of the very best places in the country if that's something that you're looking for. Now, it depends on the industry, of course. Some industries are thriving more than others. And I do have resources that I can absolutely share with you based on your specific industry or the specific type of business that you're looking to start here. And I'd love to share that with you as well. Next up, this is really common, and this is the thing that people want to see the most as well. And that is, what are the best neighborhoods and suburbs and cities to live here in the state of Utah? I answer this question through so many of my videos, including this week and weeks prior, but I talk about areas like Syracuse or Saratoga Springs or Daybreak, which is in South Jordan, in the southwest corner of the Salt Lake metropolitan area. All of these areas are up and coming and they're really cool, but there are so many other areas that we can talk about if you're looking for something specific. I don't want to steer people towards one particular city or one particular area because what's right for you might be wrong for somebody else or vice versa. And starting these last couple of weeks, I've been spending a lot more time filming YouTube content outside of this office and getting out in the subdivisions and the neighborhoods and actually showing you exactly what's up and coming and what's happening in the neighborhoods. So stay tuned for more content. The vlog style videos are coming and I'm really excited about it because it's one of the things that people ask me about and want to see just about more than anything. All right, next up on the list, people are super concerned with the weather and the climate here in Utah. And many people think they're going to be covered in snow all the time because we have incredible snow and we're famous for skiing and everything that comes with snow. But that's just not the case. Honestly, if you live in the metropolitan areas on the Wasatch Front, you're probably going to realize that snow impacts your life so much less than you probably thought that it would. In fact, the areas in the country that are impacted far more with snow than we are here in Utah, or even in Denver or Boise or places throughout the Intermountain West, are up in the Northeast and the upper Midwest. Those areas see snow that's completely different than what we see. We typically see those snowstorms come through, and within a couple of days, you're back to normal, and the weather changes, and you get sunshine, and it really doesn't get that cold for very long. And the summers, even though they do get quite hot in the summertime, we typically do see a couple of weeks each and every year where we do see temperatures increase above 100 degrees, it's not to say that it's the worst because we have an arid, drier climate. It's just not the same as if you were to live in a humid environment back east or in the south. So overall, the climate here, in my opinion, is ideal because I get to take advantage of and enjoy each of the 4 seasons. I personally really love that. And even though I think that Southern California probably has the best weather in the world year-round, it's awesome, I really like the variety that Utah offers. And so if you have more specific questions about the climate and the weather here, drop a comment below. I love answering those questions. All right, next up, it's outdoors. Everything outdoors. People want to know, what are the recreational opportunities here in Utah pertaining to the outdoors? And the answer is yes, it's absolutely everything. Utah is the greatest playground in terms of outdoor activities that I could possibly imagine. And so you get to experience so many different things in the state of Utah, from snow-capped rocky mountains to sand dunes to salt flats out to the west to the Red Rocks in southern Utah with 5 national parks. You get everything here in the state, and it's not that far away. And so if you're really an avid backpacker or hiker or mountain biker or ATVs or snowmobiles are your thing, you could not imagine being in a better place than here in Utah. Also, other activities like hunting and fishing and other outdoor activities, it's such a massive part of the culture here. And it's a big part of the reason why people come to visit, because we do have so many incredible places to see. All right, moving on, people continually asking me about the educational system here. Many people that are making the move to Utah have young children and they're concerned about education. Utah does rank very highly, top 10 in the country in terms of overall education when you take into account all forms of education, including higher education. But one thing that I wanted to touch on in this video is the ability to be flexible. Yes, we have public schools and private schools, and we have charter schools as well as homeschooling as options. But in Utah, you're going to probably find that you have more options than you would in many other places. So I really personally love that about being and living in Utah. As I have a 9-year-old and an 8-year-old myself, I think that we have more freedom here in terms of educating our children than just about anywhere else. And the data backs that up as well in terms of the scores as well as the educated workforce here. Utah tends to be a very educated area, and so I think that plays into our culture, that plays into our lifestyle here. It's certainly ingrained into us, and I think it's really cool. All right, the next question that people are asking me is about healthcare. Now, I've never really spent time living outside of the state of Utah in terms of here in the United States, and so I can't really truly compare what it is like in Utah versus a different state, but I do know the stats and the data that back up that Utah does have a good healthcare system. I've personally never had a bad experience. I know that other people do just about anywhere, including here in the state of Utah, but I think healthcare is one of those things that people really want to know. Where's the nearest hospital? Is it a good hospital? Are there good doctors here? And I would say that the answer is yes. Most places that you want to live along the Wasatch Front, you're going to be within really good proximity and access to some incredible hospitals. We also have the University of Utah, which is a major research facility, and it has a medical school as well. It is really ingrained into the community in Salt Lake City particularly. So I think the healthcare system here is not only thriving, but it's growing as well, as it is one of those industries that is really booming here in the state of Utah. All right, next up, this one's kind of weird, but people are constantly asking me about cultural differences that they need to be aware of when moving to Utah. And of course, Utah's a quirky place. We're a little bit different. We have some different alcohol laws, for example, and some different nuances about our communities and things that might show up in Reddit threads or online forums. And of course, we are a little bit different here. And if you want to know what it's like, I think the best way to accomplish that is to just come out and visit. And based on your specific needs and your lifestyle, I can point you in certain directions as opposed to sending you in the place where you maybe don't want to end up, but really focusing on the areas that might be more appealing to you, your lifestyle, and where you're coming from. And I think overall, when it comes to lifestyle in Utah, as long as you're friendly, you're kind, and you like the outdoors, you're going to fit in no matter where you are. And it's interesting to me that almost everybody that I come into contact with daily, whether that be in my real estate brokerage or my community out in Daybreak, most people that I interact with are not from Utah. That just shows how much Utah has grown. And I love the diversity that brings with it, because I get to have conversations with people that have moved here from all over the country and even the world. And I absolutely love having those conversations. And on that topic, drop a comment below and tell me where you're from, where you're watching from. I would love to see where people are from that are actually watching my videos. So drop a comment. All right, 2 more to go. Second to last, let's talk about transportation. Everybody's asking about transportation. And of course, just like any other American city, it's not really walkable in most areas, although some of the up and coming areas are truly walkable cities or developments. But most importantly, how does the infrastructure and the transportation here work in terms of our system of highways and freeways? And honestly, it's really good. There's only a couple of bottleneck areas up to the north of Salt Lake City, to the south as well, as that development is happening currently. And those freeways are being built right now as we speak. But overall, transportation is doing a great job in terms of planning ahead with the upcoming developments and making sure that we have the highways and the systems in place to accommodate the growth that is so rapidly happening. Utah has, of course, been the fastest growing state in the country since 2010. And with that intense growth, we've had to really boost up our transportation and infrastructure to make sure that we can accommodate that growth. I will add one caveat that here in Salt Lake County, the north-south traffic is wonderful. It's not bad. It's the east-west traffic that at times can get really bottlenecked, specifically on the west side of the valley to the north. It can really bottleneck in rush hour traffic in the morning and the evening. But overall traffic in Utah, if you've come from another place where they have bad traffic, Utah's a breeze. I don't think that we really truly have a reason to complain about traffic, because it never takes me more than 30 minutes to get anywhere, unless, of course, there's a major storm that throws a kink into everything. All right, the last thing that people are asking me that I wanted to share is taxes. Depending on the state that you're coming from, I want to talk about overall tax burden, because, for example, if you live in Texas, you have 0 income tax, but your property taxes are quite high. And how does that impact you? Depending on your income, based on your income. So when we talk about overall tax burden, we take into account the median income as well as all of the taxes across the board, and we rank states based on that percentage or that ratio. And coming in as the state in the country that has the worst tax burden is New York State, followed by Hawaii. That's no surprise. One thing that really stuck out to me, that California actually ranked number 12 as the 12th most expensive, and that's because most people in California tend to earn a lot more money as well, so it offsets a little bit of that differences in taxes. But California still is the 12th most expensive state for overall tax burden. So the real question is, where does Utah rank? Well, just about everything related to cost of living pretty much puts Utah just about smack dab in the middle at number 27 in the country. And it's interesting because as the growth has been occurring, our incomes are increasing here in Utah as well. And that relationship of overall tax burden really heavily plays off of the median income as well. And Utah's overall tax burden is most similar to the states of Virginia and Louisiana. And right after Louisiana is the state of Texas. The overall tax burden here in Utah only differs from the state of Texas by 0.22%. And that might come as a shock to people that are really attracted to moving to Texas because they don't have a state income tax. So overall, as a state here in Utah, where are we right now and where are we headed in our future? Right now, we're seeing incredibly high real estate prices, and honestly, it's not going back. The demand for Utah real estate is just as high as it ever has been, and even though we're a couple of years removed from a global pandemic, the real estate prices are staying high and they're not going down. And as soon as those interest rates really start to drop, those prices are yet again going to start climbing. And so what does that mean for the future of Utah? I believe personally that the most pressing issue for the future of the state of Utah is home affordability. I think it's crucial that our future generations, both the millennials and the Gen Z and the generations to come afterwards, need to be able to purchase real estate in the state of Utah. And I'm actually really passionate about this and excited about some new programs and some developments in terms of what's coming in the coming years here in the state of Utah to help with the home affordability. And I'm really excited about that because I think that that is the most important thing that we need to think about in terms of our future. Because ultimately, if people live here, they grow up here, but they can't actually buy a home here, they're just going to leave. And that's going to impact our communities as well as our culture and our economy as well. And so I think home affordability is the most pressing issue. And I'm really curious, what's the home affordability situation where you're coming from? Drop a comment below. I'd love to see what it's like because I'm learning about other markets throughout the entire country as well. And with that said, I'd love to be your real estate resource of choice. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments or book a call with me, and I'd love to schedule that call and go over all of your specific questions. And if you're looking for more content just like this and you want to learn more about life here in Utah, check out this playlist or this video. And until next time, thanks.